Good evening, everybody,
Good evening.
and welcome to this night's special edition, the Hopeless Resistance Stream.
Resistance stream.
Yes, we are gonna resist tonight. We're gonna resist everything. You might think that you know what resistance means, but it may mean something more. We're resisting not just the occupying forces,
The oppressors.
we will also be resisting society, nature,
Our own
Life.
will to live.
will
Perhaps.
to live. We'll just resist. We'll be resisting. This is the resistance stream.
The resistance stream.
Yes.
Because resistance never ends. Resistance does not go out of style.
They resisted in the past. They're resisting now. They never stop resisting.
Even I hear the future is going to be a lot of resistance.
It's going to be one long resistance. I
Yes.
feel like I'm already in it. I feel I'm resisting so many things.
Yes.
Like just before we started today, we were talking about resisting AI-generated tips for your computer software, for example.
Just resisting AI in general.
Yeah, resisting AI in general. So I think there's so many things in our everyday life to resist that we just need to resist. So what you're seeing on the table is the game of Sabotage. And Sabotage is a very, very special game in the history of board games.
Yeah.
It is one of the very, very few resistance game that was actually made by resistance fighters, and that was made by resistance fighters while resisting. You can even go so far as to say that this game is itself an act of resistance.
Beautiful.
It was made by Danish resistance fighters in 1943, and it was illegally distributed in networks of Danish people. As far as we know, it was actually mass-produced, and it
So true underground gaming.
True underground gaming. It was just a piece of paper like what you see in front of you, and then all the pieces would be at the bottom of the paper, and you cut out the pieces and you cut them. And you can see there was also a separate rule sheet, which looks like this.
Wow,
which is a
that's cool.
typewritten rule sheet. You can see here
It's very cool.
some stats and stuff. And all this was made in 1943. Now, I think there are two ways of telling this story. And I think the most interesting one to begin with is actually that one of our friends, who is in chat tonight, I'm seeing, he one day gave me a call, and he says, like, I'm in the storage magazine under the library where I'm working. And there is this box of throwaway items. And I'm going through them, and I've stumbled across these sort of weird big pieces of paper that says Sabotage, and there's some kind of an architectural drawing or something on them, but they're also squares and lines, so it looks kind of like a game. And he called me up and said, would that be interesting to you? And I, of course, immediately said, you know, pick up everything you can and bring it to your office and don't let it out of sight. And that turned out to be the game of Sabotage, which was on its way to trash.
So this very game was lying in a throwaway box under the library in Copenhagen. And since then, I've discovered that a couple of copies of the game was known, in the sense that I think one copy had been printed in a book about satirical artwork and sketches that were made during the Second World War in Denmark. And there was a copy at something called the Freedom Fighters Museum, also in Copenhagen. But that was basically it. It was completely unknown, and it was on its way to trash. But then it was saved, and then when I got the game, I started researching a little bit about, so what is this game, and who made it, and what happened with it, why is it here? And it turns out that in I can't believe that they were going to throw this game out.
I mean,
an artifact.
I think if you look at it, you wouldn't probably consider, really, you wouldn't know what you were looking at, probably, right? If you didn't have any.
But still, I do think that it does have some artistic value and some, at least some curiosity value.
Actually, the original cliche from which it was printed did not include the word sabotage, because at the time, to avoid the censorship of the Germans, you obviously couldn't like have something like this go through censorship. if it said sabotage. So it would just be the cliche like that, and probably no one ever noticed. But if someone took a look at it, it looked kind of innocent, I guess.
Yeah.
But if it says sabotage, it doesn't look so innocent. And the thing about the game was that in Randers, which is in northern Jutland, in the western part of Denmark, there was a resistance network. And it was led by this guy called Christian Gabriel Bach. And he was kind of the spider in the web up there. He knew everybody. And he, at one point, organized a sabotage mission against a transformer station. And I think they were involved in making parts for the railways.
Oh.
And he and a couple of other guys went there and they broke in and they set off some bombs. And the mission was not like a full success. I think they managed to blow something up, but then the bombs weren't strong enough. It didn't do as much damage as they thought it would. And on the way home, they were 4 people and they split into 2 groups. And one of the groups made it back to the house and the other group was stopped by the Germans on the way. They came like just drawing their bicycles along, and the Germans had been alerted because there's been an explosion. So what are you doing here in the middle of the road with your bicycles and explosions in the background? And they told some story, you know. They probably had a few stories up their sleeves for these kind of situations.
Sure.
And somehow they wiggled their way out of it. But the Germans had looked at their ID cards, so they now knew that they were in the books, like that. And so they went back to the house and said, you know, the Germans stopped us and they didn't suspect anything immediately, but we don't know. Maybe they'll suspect us later when they look into it.
Yeah.
So they were sitting in the house and it was nighttime and they couldn't go anywhere because they're afraid to be picked up by the Germans and you're not allowed to go out. And this is in August 1943, which is just the time where the whole resistance movement in Denmark is at its most intense after the Germans have basically incarcerated the entire police force. So there's a lot of action going on, so they cannot leave at night. And they're sitting in the kitchen, around the kitchen table, basically just waiting for the Germans to come pick them up. And they're kind of discussing what to do and who should hide where and do they have their guns, and all the guns are loaded and they can come any minute. And what do they do while they sit in the kitchen waiting for the Germans to come? They design a board game.
As you do.
As you do. They design a board game. So, and they design not just any board game. They design a board game about the sabotage mission that they were just on. So at least if the Germans come and pick them up, maybe this game will survive and will be some kind of reminder of the last thing they ever did in their lives.
So this is almost like a sort of a documentary board game.
It very much is. The factory that is on the board here is modeled after this transformer station that they were trying to blow up. And here you are playing, you're gonna pick up bombs and stuff and go into the factory grounds and try to set as many off as you can. And interestingly, which we can talk about a little more when we get into the mechanics of the game, there is no win or lose condition in the game. And I think that also reflects that the mission they were on were kind of a partial success. So it was not like blow the whole factory up and the war is ended, or fail and the Germans will be here forever. So it was more a gradation. So, you know, you succeed as much as you succeed in the game, or you fail as much as you fail, because it's more about getting the feel of a sabotage mission, and it's more about trying to immerse yourself in this situation, and also, as it says in the rules, to open up discussions about it. Because one of the things in this game is that down here you see the 2 saboteurs, which are trying to get into the factory, and over here you see the 2 sabotage, or the 2 factory guards.
Yeah.
And the factory guards...
Would those be with the German guards?
No, that's the thing. They were Danish guards. And of course, there was a lot of resistance towards people who were volunteering to help out guard these factories for the Germans. But I guess sometimes it could also be an offer that could be difficult to resist. So the game, the main point of the game, at the beginning at least, is to have a discussion about who is going to play the factory guards.
Aha, okay.
And open up, like, would you want to play the factory guards?
So this is not the popular choice.
No, and it actually means that the game may not be played because no one wants to play the factory guards.
Which is understandable. You might not identify as a...
Yeah. So it's a game which is really about, it takes games so wonderfully seriously, right? It says that if you choose to play as the factory guards, we're not going to judge you, but we are kind of. Because, like, why do you want to be on the side of the factory guards?
Do you think that they used it at all as sort of a planning method or a way to instruct people, newcomers in the resistance, to sort of train them, like, this is how you do it. You wait outside the gate for 30 minutes, then you wait for the clear signal, then you go, and then you blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I think to have all those discussions, how do you set it up? If you look at the rule sets, and maybe a little tongue-in-cheek, and it's also in Danish, guys, so there may be some of you out there who can't understand it, but at the bottom of it, it actually says, and I'm going to read it in Danish, I'm going to translate.
Yeah.
It says, anbefalet til øvelsesbrug af Saboteknisk Forening, Selskabet til Sabotagens Fremme, diplom på udstillingen Sabotage før nu i Vejle.
Wow.
So it basically says that this is recommended for training for sabotage missions.
Wow,
and this rule set was distributed separately from the game board. Because if you distributed them together, of course, then the Germans would know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I guess the game board, you could only print at the printers, whereas this, you could probably very cheaply copy this sheet here. It was typewritten, and it could be easily copied like they would copy illegal magazines at the time.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
I see we have some comments from Tatsevitra, who tells us that Tatsevitra, who was the hero, the resistance hero who discovered Sabotage, that apparently there were many copies of the game. I remember that, and he says that they were offered to other institutions. But this game, it's hard to overestimate how rare this game is.
Yeah. Indeed. And also that it was almost thrown out back in the day.
I mean, that is in itself, of course, is a great story. And I can see Tatsevich says that they took them. So I'm happy to hear that they recognize the value of this game. But in the history of board gaming, as I said, there are really no resistance games. All the resistance games you find are made by people in safety, meaning that they're more propaganda games.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
No, we don't know that for sure, but I have really spent a long time trying to dig up resistance game. One of my contacts is Gaius from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And he's probably called Gaius or something from the Netherlands. And he is an expert on games made during World War II. He has a private collection of almost 3,000 games made during World War II. And I have been in contact with him and asked him if there are any examples to his knowledge in his collection of games that are actually made by resistance fighters who were inside the country. So it was not just cheering from the sidelines. And he says no, he doesn't have a single example of a game made by resistance fighters.
That's very curious because obviously these guys couldn't have been the only one who had the notion to do so.
I think there is the circumstance that these games would have been underground games, they would have been cheaply produced, and mostly they would have disappeared.
Yeah.
They would have gone. I've heard rumors that some games were made during the Spanish Civil War by the communist faction, that some resistance games were made, but none of them have survived. So maybe there are mentions of them in some diaries or something, but I haven't seen any physical examples.
Okay.
And the only other examples we have, there is one game from the early 20th century called Suffragette, and that was made by women in the suffragette movement in Britain. So that is the movement for voters' rights for women.
Yeah.
And that was a very militant group. They practiced kung fu. And had some very violent demonstrations.
Yeah.
And that game is again the same thing, where you can either play as the suffragettes or you can play as the police who are guarding the mayor's hall or wherever it is you're trying to get in to vote. So you're gonna try to kung fu your way through these policemen to get into it. But that game was made by the suffragette movement in the years that they were fighting for this cause. So that's closer, but still, this game is a game that I imagine if your house was ransacked by the Germans in 1943 and they found a stack of copies of a game called Sabotage, I mean, it wouldn't look good. It might be dangerous to have this game at this point in time.
Yeah.
And we just don't see that games as an act of resistance. Also, the thing that when the game was sold, the money they made from the game, those money went into the big budget for making sabotage missions.
But it's just insane that in order to fund the resistance movement in Denmark, you resorted to selling board games.
It's fantastic, right? I mean, this probably wasn't the main source of income.
Well, let's not dwell on that.
No, but I think the symbolic is enough, right? That you give this game to your friend, and they give you a little bit of money that you can use for your mission. And that's also why we know there was a doctor in Copenhagen who was distributing it. And I think it's through him, as far as I remember, that we hear that it was actually produced in the thousands. So yeah, so there is this whole cultural history around this game. And the most fantastic thing is that that's only part of the story. Yeah. Because there's also the game itself. I can see here we have some new intel in chat. Tatsavitser says we might have had several copies because we received full archives from central actors in the Danish system. Yeah, right. So, sure. So because the Royal Library were collecting all sorts of stuff from previous members of the resistance movement, they may have then been in possession of the game and given it to the library. So it may have actually come from people who bought the game during the war and then later donated it to the library. So Tatsavitser then also asked, where did all the other artifacts come from? Now, the other artifacts that you've seen spread around the table...
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Where do they come from?
Well, I'm very much aware now that you just asked me how the game plays, and now we're going on a completely different tangent.
Well, that's the nature of this stream. It is...
We did say it was hopeless resistance, right?
It's hopeless to resist, and yet we do it anyway. So that in by itself makes it even more hopeless.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're resisting anymore. Let's go with the flow here. So
tell us more, enlighten us.
Yes.
We're here. That's what we're here. We want to know everything.
Yes. So what you see on the table are things, objects from the 1940s in Denmark, and they all belong to my grandfather, who was in the resistance movement, and he passed away last year at the ripe age of 99.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Which is crazy for me to think of that, how many years ago? 80 years before he died, he was a resistance fighter.
Crazy.
I mean,
crazy.
Can life be that long?
I hope not. Well, that's very impressive.
And what you see here for example, this is the armlet that the resistance fighters would be wearing after the Germans they surrendered, and then they would wear these on their arms.
So you would give that for the German soldier or whatever to wear after he was captured.
This was what the resistance fighters would wear. Because they were trying to make sure that order were kept in the streets. And if you see, I think if you take that soldier's book, I think. Yeah, the soldier's book from 1943, I think, or something. I think there's something in the beginning of that. Yeah, this one. So what you see here, that's a little note, a little typewritten note, which basically says that my grandfather, he is enrolled in Korps Åsen.
That's a great name.
So that's a name of a kind of, what can you say, military division in the freedom fighting, but it's Åsen, which is a great, funny Danish surname. And we can see here that he has been stationed for 5 days, from the 4th of May to the 9th of May, which is exactly the days after the Germans surrendered, 1945, of course. So for 5 days, he was patrolling, and I know from interviewing him that he was patrolling at Nyhavn. And because there were, of course, still German soldiers who were holding up. There was a lot of aggression towards them. There were sympathizers that people wanted to lynch in the street, basically. There were still gunfights going on. So those were some sort of very tumultuous days. So there were a lot of resistance fighters who were stationed with their weapons there.
Sure. That's an impressive piece of history.
I think if you look at the last page of the book and
This
show
one?
that.
An ominous occult symbol.
Well, it's actually a death mark.
What does that mean?
That means that if my grandfather died, it's like a dog tag. This would be the tag by which he would be identified. So everyone got that when they signed up for the army. So we have lots of stuff lying here. Maybe we'll look at some of it later. There's a diary there.
But that's interesting. You're already stuck before 1943. I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay. I mean, if we can't...
that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, that's why we're here. You know, where else are we going to go on a Thursday night? We don't have any.
And by the way, the games we're streaming, you can buy them online. You know, you don't need to watch them here. We just lure you in with them, and then we tell you something completely different.
It's an excuse. Excuse you to teach you a lesson, basically, literally.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we miss anything else? Patricia has a copy in his office.
Oh, of the game. Nice. Nice to take out when the Germans are visiting.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and we have there is a driver's license from the army right here for you. My grandfather was a very competent truck driver because his father had a truck driving company. So he learned to drive trucks when he was 10 years old with big wooden blocks on the pedals so he could reach them. So he was a very good driver.
It seems like your grandfather lived a full life.
Yeah, 99 years and all that. So, and if we really want to peek into his privacy, as I said, we have a diary lying there from the war years where he writes about stuff that's happening during the resistance.
I feel like that's another stream.
That's probably another stream, but it's there to teach your imagination, if nothing else. So, trying to get to the game in front of us. Yes. This is also a very interesting game. As I already said, it's a game that doesn't really have winning or losing conditions. It's also a game that, as we also talked about, can end up not happening because no one wants to play the factory gods. And it's also a game that can end in the saboteurs having to abort the mission before it even started. And this game is clearly made by people who were not used to making games.
But I guess one of the reasons why there's no clear win condition and why there is all these ways that the game can fail, or however you want to call it, is because it's kind of also like a mimic of a real
it's
situation.
A simulation.
Yeah.
It's a simulation, very much. And I think what I really like about this game is that it was made as a simulation, and it shows, because so often we have this discussion, right, of whether the game mechanics or the theme comes first. Yeah. Do you design because you have like a cool mechanic, and then you find a theme for it, or design because you have a cool theme, and then you develop a mechanic for it? And this is totally theme first. Like, they're trying to reproduce an actual sabotage mission that they just did. And we are maybe 2 hours after they returned from the mission, and they're starting to sketch out this game board.
Yeah.
So they're already in this mode of it has to be real.
And what would you think the main inspiration of this game is mechanically?
I think mechanically, at the point you had a lot of games in the category of games which is known as goose games, which are basically games which are point-to-point movement. You throw a die and you move a pawn, and when you land on specific squares, something happens. And sometimes you can land on an opponent's piece, and you can maybe they have to go back to start or something. But this here is way more advanced. This here, I would say, sits between many of these simple children's games that existed at this point in time. There are many propaganda games about the war which are way simpler than this game. And then this, in some ways, I feel it foreshadows something we've also talked on stream, which is the later Avalon Hill Game Company's and simulation, the SPI games that came out. All these sort of war simulation games. This here very much have a war simulation feel. Clearly, it's grounded on these sort of very old school children's games mechanics at the time. But as you will see, we're not going to do a full playthrough of the game because that's not really the point. But we're going to take a few turns and just to show you how it works.
It's funny to think about that some of these early simulation games, like you would have maybe German generals
somewhere in a bunker somewhere playing some sort of naval strategy map just to test out different, ways of attacking and different strategies. And so this is like the resistance way of preparing for the next attack.
Yes.
In perhaps a little bit more simplistic way.
A lot more simplistic. I mean, the war games that have been around since the late 18th century are, of course, been more and more advanced and developed, and where you really could completely construct the exact terrain you would be fighting in, and you would know all the troop types, and you would try to take into account factors like weather and, fatigued men and low morale, and you try to factor all this in. This game is way simpler. This is not, if you play this game and think now I can go out and do a sabotage mission, you're gonna get caught. I'm just gonna say that up
What?
front.
I thought we were giving away, I thought it was like the anarchist cookbook here.
Well, I think it's more, it gets you to reflect on the idea of sabotage. I think
Gets
that's
you
what the game does.
mentally in the mindset.
Yeah,
of
it prepares
let's
you
go.
mentally. I think that's fair to say.
Was it also some sort of recruitment game? That's a good question.
I mean, I think in a sense, since it was sold, that I'm sure that some people might play this game and maybe get inspired to do something. Remember, the people in the resistance were mostly like really, really young people. They were
And
like
you said
teenagers.
You said your grandfather was 19.
My grandfather was 19, and it was just a bunch of teenagers. And, the old boys who were controlling them, they were maybe 10 years older or something. And, and I've interviewed my grandfather about this, and as he said, at the time, it was, they were considering the Germans as this oppressive force, and if you could do anything to annoy them, it was good.
Yeah, sure.
And there was they didn't see the man behind the uniform at all. It says, it's the Germans, and we just have to make as much trouble for them as we can. And I'm sure if you're sitting there and maybe you're going to university and you're sitting at night in your room talking with your friends, and someone says, hey, I bought this game of this guy, the dentist down the street, like he offered to me after service. And they set it up and they play it, and they're like, wow, we could do this. And
there are many games today that are recruitment games. Like the American Army made their own video game just on, with the intent of recruiting.
Called American Army, right? Or
I think it was more or less called American Army.
Yeah.
It was like a
shitty version of Battlefield.
Yeah, but I mean, the military still today uses board games also to simulate, because the thing that you really don't get from computer simulations is you don't get the human element. So in that sense, analog games are much better at adding that to the whole decision-making process.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that is still being done. So what I want to suggest is that we take a few turns so we can show people how this game plays. And as you'll very quickly notice, it's way more interesting to play as the saboteurs than as the factory guards. And I think there's a message there, because basically the factory guards have no freedom of choice until they discover a saboteur, if they discover a saboteur. So if they don't ever discover a saboteur in the game, the factory guard players will not make a single choice during the game.
Okay, so they can just be idling somewhere, NPC style.
I think the idea is that the factory guards are like robots. They have no real will of their own. They're just like following orders, going in circles, and then only if they catch someone and they spot someone and they have to act, then they get agency. But they don't really have agency as long as they're just factory guards.
Yeah, okay. So,
and for it to work, we have to choose sides.
Yeah, you get to play as the saboteurs.
Okay, great.
And I'll play
Thank
as the factory guards.
Great.
Then that's discussions out of the way. So the saboteurs are down here, and the factory guards are over here. What you see in front of the saboteurs is the black market. So in the beginning,
what does that mean? The black market?
That means that in the beginning of the game, you'll move around the black market and pick up various items you can find,
like guns and
maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows what's there?
Cool.
And the factory guards, they'll go through their storage room and pick up whatever they find.
Okay.
Now, the factory guards, they just go through it and out. The saboteurs are allowed to circle twice if they don't find something interesting on their way. And then, depending on what equipment they pick up, they need to find a way to enter the factory grounds. and they can only enter the factory grounds from if they have the right equipment. So they need pliers to cut through the metal grating, and they need a crowbar to open the fence, and so on.
So there is already an element of choice. Do I want to go in through the
Except you roll a die and you have to move your full die.
Okay.
So not really, no. So it's played with a 6-sided die, and I think since we're just demonstrating, let's just remove 2 of the pieces. Or let's remove one of the saboteurs, because then...
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a solo mission.
Yeah, it's a solo mission. It's a lone saboteur.
That's how I like it.
So you go to the black, and also I like this is abstracted as the black market. So I mean, this is not in front of the factory. This is somewhere underground network. Whereas this here is a storage cabinet at the factory.
Okay.
So there's already some interesting space-time stuff going on here.
But I saw 1 or 2 dice.
Just 1 die.
Yeah.
And then you just move according to the arrows.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then you take whatever you land on and flip it over.
And is it secret for you?
No, it's not secret.
Get a gun.
Oh,
Pistol.
you get a gun. It could actually be fun to have it secret, but now in the interest of everybody watching at home, you see this, guys?
Pistol.
Yeah, I'm so...
Gotta get it right in the center.
There you have it. Yes. So that's the quality of drawing here. So now your saboteur has a gun. Well, that's great. Then moves the factory guards. 1 guy moves 2.
What do you get in these secret compartments?
Let's see. Oh, I got the dog.
Ooh, that's potentially OP.
Yeah. It looks like a mountain goat, but it's a dog.
So the dogs, I imagine, are super useful.
Yeah, well, it can detect saboteurs.
But can they withstand a
gunshot?
Yeah, that's the question. The other factory guard moves 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he picks up a pistol. So now we can have a duel.
Well, and also, it's also sort of a race to enter the factory.
Not really.
Okay.
Because the factory guards, they're just going to circle around the factory grounds.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter.
So they never enter.
They just go straight in.
Okay.
So, but you can actually do 2 circles of the black market before you enter, if you choose.
Is there a limit to how much I can carry?
No.
But I probably want to bring a bomb as well.
I mean, that's the thing. If you don't pick up any bombs, you cannot do any sabotage.
And if I don't pick up any means of how to enter, then I'm also stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go around once again. 1.
That's good. Low is
Actually,
good.
low is good. Yeah, I was about to say.
What is that?
Get an ostrich.
No, an ostrich? I think not.
What is it? Oh, keys.
It's keys.
I got some keys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should just stop doing this. Oh, yeah, they got it.
I need keys.
So you have guns and keys. Keys means that you can enter through the gate.
Yes.
And there are 2 gates. So keys are actually the most powerful object you can have for entry.
And is there anything that I might need when I'm inside apart from the bomb?
Not really. I mean, a gun is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it means you can take factory guards prisoner.
Yeah, okay.
I actually need to make sure that I know who has which item. So this guy moves here. So the guy with the dog, he now also have a kind of a club.
Okay.
Like this.
And these drawings, are they original from the...
Yeah, they're original from the game.
And would it be like a cutout you got next to the game? Or?
They would be printed on the bottom. Basically, this game board, I cut off the bottom, and that's where all these were printed. And then I cut them out and I stuck them on little wooden blocks.
Okay, yeah.
And then this guy with the gun, he moves here. So he moves 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's now entered the factory grounds. And this guy, he's still going through storage with his dog.
All right. So I need a bomb.
You kind of need a bomb, yeah. Without a bomb, it's not going to be any fun for you.
It's a 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. See what black market holds tonight. This is a bomb, I think.
Yeah, and it has a number. So it's basically, I think it's a 1, right?
Let me just get my
I think it means it's a firebomb.
saboteur peripherals here. It's the one, yes.
So that's a firebomb. And you can firebomb the drawing office, which is up here, where they're making drawing plans for their trains and railway tracks and so on.
Pretty good, pretty good.
So you can bomb that. Now, an interesting story about this game, I once took it with me to a workshop, a team-building workshop somewhere for a game-making company. And I brought this as a little treat. And the guys were playing it according to rules. And it turns out that the rules for this game have so many, I won't say holes in them, but there are so many undefined aspects of the rules that you can do things in the game that clearly the game never intended for you to do. And what they ended up doing was the saboteurs took a factory guard hostage, escorted him into the house, locked him up into the house, and firebombed the house.
Ooh, that's nasty.
And it's completely not in the rules, but there's nothing in the rules to prevent you from doing that.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of cool. It has this emergent behavior. But you now have firebombs. You can bomb the drawing office. Well, that's great. Then the guy in the factory grounds, he moves ahead. One.
And you don't know that I'm even planning this attack.
No, I have no idea. I'm just walking the rounds. That's why I haven't picked up all my stuff from storage.
And you just lazily, do I want to bring the club today? Do I want to bring the gun today?
Yes.
Maybe.
He got the gun, so I'll take the dog. He needs to go for a walk.
So casually strolling along.
I should also say that if anyone's interested in trying to play this game, all the files are available at Board Game Geek. Just Google or search Board Game Geek for Sabotage 1943. And I have also translated the rules into English. So you can actually read the rules in English and play the game. Let's get on with this sabotage mission.
Let's see if there's anything more I want from the black market, but I'm good to...
I think you should
leave the black market, actually.
And you have keys and everything.
Yeah. Gonna go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
What does the 1 signify?
The 1 means that this is the space where you need the pliers to cut through. So you're going through this by this fence, and you're kind of, can I get in here? Is there? But there's no hole in the fence. It's like, I wish I brought my pliers, or I wish I got some pliers from the black market. But nobody was selling pliers when you were at the black market.
But actually, also, it's not really faster to go in for the front gate, because I see that I need to go 2 more steps to go to the front gate, and then.
But as you can see here, there is a turning symbol here at the end. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to move here and move back. And if you don't land on any of the spaces where you can enter, then you abort mission and the game ends. So you have to land on 3 or 5 in order to enter. So you got pretty good chances not to abort mission. But part of it is also that many missions were aborted because of some random factor.
Couldn't find the door.
Couldn't find the door. I think more often it was something like too much activity, too many guards. I don't know. The moon was out. They couldn't find the right explosive. Whatever. So, the first factory guard, he is moving very slowly. He's like, I think he's a little bit suspicious. I think he heard some rustling down there by the fence. And the other guy is moving along.
I'm known to be a rustler.
More. Yeah.
Okay, let's try for 2.
Let's see if you can get through the door. No, look
1,
here.
2, 4, even better.
You can. See, this is an interesting
but
situation.
That's kind of scary, I guess.
It is very scary. Now, when you're in the factory grounds, you do not have to move the full extent of your die roll. Or you do have, but you can go back and forth between 2 spaces.
Okay.
So, to avoid not running into a guard.
Okay.
The thing is that he's got the dog, so his alertness radius also extend to the squares next to him.
That's kind of cool. That's a cool
little mechanic.
Yeah.
But you got a gun, and he got a baton, which means...
Do I also have to take out the dog as well?
No. The problem is, if you get within 1 space of the factory guard, the dog will bark.
Yeah.
And if the dog barks, it sets off the alarm.
Okay.
And when the alarm goes off, you have 5 turns to get back out of the factory grounds. And if you don't manage to do that, the police catch you.
Okay.
Or the Germans catch you.
Yeah.
So it's you can see there's a lot of little simulation elements in the game here.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if those factory guards move. Oh, see, he's on a run over here.
That's great.
Yeah, he's got the gun.
That's
you don't
the wrong
want
guy.
him.
I was hoping it was the other one.
Yeah, but he's got the gun, so that's okay. The thing is, you can shoot this guy, but if you shoot, the alarm also goes off.
Where do I have to be physically in order to hit him with the gun?
In his space.
In his space. Okay.
You only have a conflict if it's in space. But you see, they don't have any will of their own until they discover.
I see that there's several reasons why it's not so much fun to play the guards.
Yeah, that's why I'm playing them.
Oh, wait, do I have to do anything with the keys, by the way?
No, you just spend them.
I just enter. I go 1, and am I interested in number 12?
Let me just see. What can you do with number 12? I think that's the guardhouse. So maybe you cannot do anything there. Let me just, this is actually a little bit obscure to me. Oh yeah, here it says, guardhouse number 12. Oh, this is because this game is crazy. If you surrender to the guards, they will escort you back to the guardhouse and lock you up and wait for the police to come unless another saboteur managed to shoot the guards and free you from the house.
Okay, cool.
So there are levels of simulation.
It's pretty involved, actually.
Goes way beyond just rolling a die, but at the same time, you can see that the idea of a base mechanic was point-to-point movement on a map. So they have this whole layer of complexity on a very simple game, which is what creates this emergent behavior in the game. Which means
that's awesome.
It is kind of awesome, but you feel the desire to do something more with the game. Yeah.
Let's just take a small break to appreciate our lovely guys and girls in chat.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Tatsvidra asks, can you steal the guards' remaining stuff?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I think, not according to the game rules as written, no. But again, this is one of those things that in this game, I guess you can. I mean, it's the kind of game where that kind of wants to tell that story that you can.
Yeah, but also, isn't it also kind of like a game where the house rules are welcome?
Absolutely. I mean, I think sort of game mechanically, if you integrated that, it would probably be a problem because very often you would come in behind the Germans, go up, take all their equipment, and be OP.
Yeah.
So I think game mechanically, it would probably unbalance the game. So for that reason, not. But yes, it is that kind of game. I think they are trying to simulate way much more than what their engine can actually do for them.
Yeah, but if you're playing with some seasoned saboteurs,
yeah, sure,
they can probably be dungeon masters.
Absolutely.
Jeden asks, can you use items multiple times?
Yes, you can. No, not the bombs though.
That makes sense.
And also, you can see if you look at the map, it's very difficult for you, I guess, to see back home. But there are numbers on the different kind of things you can blow up, and that gives the amount of kilos of explosives you need to blow up.
Okay.
So picking up explosives, you pick up a certain amount of explosives, and then you can use them to blow up these things. So in order to blow everything up on the map, you would definitely need 2 saboteurs. They would definitely need to make 2 rounds of the black market, and they would definitely need to get basically all the explosives.
Well, I guess the point is not necessarily to level the factory.
But that's the thing. I think that's also what the game is trying to say. That it's not like an either-or thing. Like in this mission, you have a firebomb. Like you're this 18-year-old kid. You just stole some keys off the hook of the guard's room. You have like basically a Molotov cocktail with you in your sort of inner sleeve or in your jacket. And you have a gun that you stole from your parents. And you just snuck into the factory and you're just gonna try to go because you know that they're drawing up plans for a new railroad extension. And it's gonna be used to as troop transports for the Germans. So you just wanna set them back by burning down all those records that they're drawing up. And that's your mission, because you cannot do anything else on this map. So you're basically just trying to get up there and blow up the stuff.
But also now that I have the firebomb, the only building that I can blow up is the drawing room.
That's the thing. So that's your mission now.
That's fine. I'm ready.
And by the way, you rolled a 2, so you have to go there.
Oh yeah, that was what I was asking about the.
Yeah, it's because you thought you could go there. You can, but that's basically where you'll get imprisoned.
Yeah.
So the guards, they keep on moving, and he's so fast, the guy with the gun. You don't want him coming around too quickly, actually.
No.
But this guy's really slow. It's the dog. It has to sniff everything. I can see now that this thing with the wooden cubes is nice. It's also a little bit cumbersome if you, I mean, imagine...
When you have so much gear with you.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's fine. So
All
yeah,
right.
move ahead.
Let's see. God, and 1.
Oh, you're slow. You're creeping. Also, you're
creeping
getting a
and
little bit
crawling.
anxious.
I creep
you're
and
just
crawl.
a kid, right? And you also have that Molotov cocktail in your inner pocket. It could go off any minute.
But I'm also taking it slow because I know how these saboteur missions work.
Yeah, you're waiting for this guy to pass you, perhaps.
Yeah, it's playing the long game here.
Yeah.
Do I have to go around the same route?
No, you have freedom of movement.
Okay.
That you have what they don't have.
Okay,
which is freedom of movement.
But yeah, I see now I'm kind of in a pickle here.
Yeah, but as I said, you can go back and forth between 2 spaces, which is of course boring, but that's the game.
But seeing as he's gonna pass...
Yeah, you're not gonna make it. So unless... And he's got a gun, so that's gonna result in a gunfight. You could do that, then we can have a gunfight, and you can try to see if you have time to blow up the factory before the police arrives.
What is the timer for the police to arrive?
5 turns.
Oh, what was this? Just getting here. Well, 3 turns to get 2 turns, and 1 turn to get here, basically.
I mean, I'm not sure you want to shoot him necessarily, or you want to have a shootout, because you might also end up dead. You can also bide your time.
Question just is, how do I go about this? 1, 2, 3, 4? Would that be a way to do it?
Yeah. Or back and forth between 2 spaces as you want.
But if I'm here...
1,
yeah, okay, it's
2,
1,
3.
2,
Yeah, you're probably
3.
right.
Yeah, whatever. So
Yeah,
you
end up basically where you were.
Okay.
So you're lurking,
I'm lurking.
and this guy's fast, so it was good you lurk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's now checking number 11.
Yeah.
Which is the lathe and cutting machine. So he's just inspecting. Has any
Really?
bombs been placed in the cutting machine?
It's a boring
and
job,
then-
but someone has to do it.
That's the thing. And the other guy, he's up here by the crane.
Okay.
No, that's the lifting crane, yeah.
So now I'm still kind of in a weird, awkward situation here. So 1, which is fine.
That's fine. You're lurking. You can shoot him in the back almost. Not that you want to.
Well, who says I don't?
Tatsevitzer asks, can the saboteur exit anywhere or only through already unlocked doors? That is correct, but since the saboteur, which is on the ground now, he has the keys, he can exit through both of the locked gates, which is 3 and 5.
Yeah.
So you have 2 exit routes, which is good.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
If the alarm goes off.
Yeah. My God, come on.
And see, if he had the dog,
That would have been a
then
problem.
you couldn't go there.
Yeah.
And the other guy is also slow. We are actually ending up playing the game I'm seeing, but
But I could also go back, right?
yeah, you can go back and forth. So
Okay.
you can just wait
I
it
have
out.
some leeway here. 4, so I could go 1, 2, 3, 4.
For example, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing, of course, is that you have to spend a turn to set charges or bomb something. And that's when...
So I also have to time it, actually.
Yeah, and you can see if you're trying to blow up multiple things and you have multiple saboteurs, it can get pretty dicey. But see, now you're in the clear. And now you just hope that this guy up here is not too fast. And
That's
he's
perfect.
super slow.
That's perfect. But of course, we ended up playing the game. What do you...
Yeah, you know.
But let's see how long one saboteur lasts.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, okay, you
1,
sneak
2,
in.
3.
You're actually now by the cutting machine, and you thought you were maybe gonna blow that up, but it
Could I do-
requires
could I do
3
any-
kilos.
Okay,
Of,
so I can't do any damage to it.
no, you can just. I mean, it'll just be a bonfire next to it, basically.
okay.
I mean, up here is paper and wood and stuff that you can blow up. So the German guards are continuing around, and now this guy up here is the more interesting for you, and he's slow.
It's great. Guess it's the dog slowing him down.
So I think it's just sniffing everything, right?
Ooh, there you go. 1. That... Can I stop there?
No.
Seems a little bit awkward, but 6.
Yeah.
So I have to roll a 1 next time.
Yeah, I think if I mean, this is of course stupid gameplay, but if you think of it in terms of simulation, it means that it's not so easy to find the right access. So you can say it kind of simulates that you have to spend some time getting around the building. So,
Sure.
Of course, gameplay-wise, it's just super awkward and shows again that this game is a quite advanced simulation game on some very simplistic children's game formula.
Yes, yes.
So this guy's 3, make it round. And now it's interesting because now comes the guy with the dog. And he rolls a 5.
Ooh, I'm not super happy about his advances.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh.
So the dog is almost has my scent.
Yeah, and you can see what happens when you're trying to firebomb.
The dog will notice me. What if
unless he rolls a 1?
Yeah. What if he passes?
But it'll catch you.
It'll still catch me.
But you have to.
I have to go
now
for
is
it.
your chance.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to do it. If he rolls a 1, I'm safe.
Yeah,
Anything
except
else?
you have to spend a whole turn bombing the place.
This is gonna go. Okay,
But you
whatever.
have a gun.
I'm doing it for the cause. Okay.
And let's see how it goes. So first the guy over
So
there.
that's not an automatic firebomb.
It is, but it takes 1 turn to set it off. So this guy's patrolling, and the guy with the gun is coming. Oh.
Guy with the club. Oh my luck.
Oh, but
My
they're
luck.
slowing down, and
A
the
1.
dog is getting agitated. And
But
the
if I-
guard is starting to look around.
So, am I free to go now, or
You can run if you don't dare complete the mission, or you can spend your turn and set the bomb.
I have to? I'm setting the bomb.
All right. You throw the firebomb into the office, and the German immediately looks and sees the whole structure is on fire. The guy with the gun, does he react? Has he noticed anything yet? Not really. He's still taking his time. But this guy with the dog, 1. He moves here, and the moment that he is here, the dog detects you.
Sure.
So, and it starts barking, which sets off the alarm. And that means that you now have 5 turns to leave the factory grounds, or you'll be caught by the police.
Well, I have my gun.
You have your gun. And right now, he's waiting there for you. He's just standing at the end of the little trail leading into the house, and the dog is barking like mad.
He doesn't know what he's.
And you can see he's raising a baton in his right hand.
Who goes there? I'm ready for a fight.
Well,
How is
you
it-
gotta move into him.
I move into him. Can I move past? Is that enough?
No.
So 3. I go into him, and I
So you
attack.
go into him. So this is very simplistic. You have a gun.
Mhm.
He has a baton. So you basically shoot him.
And what about the dog?
It just barks.
Okay. It's a kind of a friendly dog.
It doesn't like guns or something. So basically but the thing you have on your conscience now is you just killed a man. And it's probably someone it's probably one of your father's old friends.
Yeah, because he's Danish too, right?
And that's why you joined the resistance, because you really hated that your father was still keeping in touch with these guys who are volunteering for the Germans. So you just put a bullet through the head of your dad's best
so I
friend.
killed my dad's friend Eric.
Yeah. So he's lying dead here now, and there's this dog who is trying to sort of drag the corpse along the ground, barking like mad.
At least I'm just happy I didn't have to kill the dog.
Yeah. The alarm has gone off, right? So you just spent your first turn doing
Okay,
that.
it's
So there are
time to
4
run.
turns left.
It's time to run.
But now
Okay,
comes the other guard.
Other guys alerted. Oh, he's not that quick on his feet.
He's not so quick on his feet. So you have a chance.
I'm
You
gonna
have 4
run.
turns.
We run.
I think it's pretty good odds.
It's
Yeah,
not
I
ideal, but
think it'll do.
okay.
So that was another turn. 3 turns left. Sirens are blaring. You can hear also in the distance, sirens, cars are coming. And the guard up here is moving. Oh, he's
Ooh.
getting a move on down here.
Here's a dog
Oh.
barking.
There's a dog barking. His friend is lying dead.
Can he pick up the dog?
He can, but it doesn't really matter now because the dog is basically for triggering the alarm.
Okay, so he can only for company.
Yeah, he can take it off. He'll bring it with him, I'm sure. Oh,
that's
this
not
is
good.
not slow.
The 1,
2 turns left. You can hear the cars are getting closer to the factory.
1, 2, 3. I can make it. I can definitely make
You
it.
can make it. You need to get down here.
All the way down there.
Yeah, but you
Oh,
cannot just be outside.
I thought I was safe outside.
But he spends a whole turn inspecting the body, picking up the
Yeah,
dog,
okay.
and maybe he's also not super interested in confronting the saboteur because he know it's going to be one of the boys from town.
Yeah. Yeah, so
He
he
just
doesn't
knows
want
it.
to. Yeah, and maybe
He doesn't
he's
want
not,
that confrontation.
You could also imagine that he's hired as a guard, but does he really care about what he's guarding?
No, I mean, I think that's also part of the discussion. Like, why do you take this job? And part of it is probably that it's an offer that's difficult to resist because you already worked at the factory. This is where you make your money. If you don't have this job, how are you gonna be the breadwinner for the family?
Probably don't have so much choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, this is me running for the exit.
2 turns. Oh my goodness.
Horrible.
I mean, now they're coming up the road now to the factory and they're coming from both directions.
I am in deep
And you can
trouble.
already hear like just German words being shouted through the night. There's flashlights that's searching the walls of the factory.
I'm in deep trouble here.
And this guy feels like, oh my, I got to do something because I'll have questions to answer in a moment when, oh my goodness.
He's
still
not very
dragging his
proactive,
feet.
this guy.
No, I think he doesn't want to catch you. He just doesn't want to
Yeah,
catch
he
you.
doesn't want to. So basically, I have to roll a 1, 2,
By the turn,
3, 4,
what I didn't
5.
say before, it hasn't really mattered. But the moment that you come into contact with the Germans, then they have freedom of movement, so
There's
they can
not
change
Germans.
directions. The factory guards. Thanks for pointing that out. No, but the thing is that's the point where they get agency.
Okay, so it triggers them to be have a.
So they can move in different. I mean, he's gone via the shortest direction towards you, so
Sure.
nothing would have changed. But
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, but
All
this
right,
is me
last turn. You need a 5 or a 6.
running. Oh my god!
Oh!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the black market. Back to my friends. Back in safety.
And I mean,
Mission
you
completed.
You jump down into the ditch and roll over, and the searchlight's just like going right
You
over
can
the
just hear
edge
the
of
cars passing.
And you're just lying down
People
there,
are
shivering in the
shouting.
ditch, and you can see the fires blaring in the background.
Yeah.
And
They're
we,
shimmering.
and we
at
see
your
sort of
face
the
and your
ashes
eyes.
of the railway track plans, like slowly falling down through the night and landing on the ground.
That's how you do it. That's how you
Yeah.
sabotage stuff.
Yes. So, and as I said before, you are not prepared to go on a real sabotage mission just because you did this in the game.
Oh, yeah. I think I've learned a few tricks here.
Well,
Bring a gun.
yeah, bring a gun. Beware the barking dog. And perhaps next time be in a little better time. This was, it could not have been closer, actually.
Well, I took my time getting in, and I took my sweet time getting out.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately, I killed a guy. That's the important.
you have to put on a sad face tomorrow morning at breakfast when your dad tells you that his friend got shot at the factory.
Really? I wonder how that happened.
And oh my God, do you know what happens? Because you're just a kid. You're not thinking too many steps ahead. So you replace the gun because you stole it from your father. And when the Germans come to interrogate your father because they knew Eric, they find the gun in his home, and you basically set up your father unintentionally. So your little teenage rebellion against your father ends up in you standing in the doorway, seeing him being dragged away by the Germans, thrown into a car and driven out of town.
Well, the success was sweet while it lasted, and you had to ruin it. Thank you.
I mean, the stories even a game like this tells, right?
It's amazing.
It's quite amazing.
And also, I wonder if there was some part of this adrenaline that you probably, if you've been on a few missions, you probably enjoyed the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of exciting.
So Sabotage says this is definitely the way to play the game. Dark ending. Absolutely. But
there's only dark endings. On the
this was
stream.
it. We hadn't actually planned to play the game, but we got into it, and I actually thought it was quite intense.
It works fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works fine. I mean, obviously there are some shortcomings in terms of interaction, and I think the movement mechanics could
absolutely. But I think I mean when you consider the whole historical context of the game, and like imagine yourself sitting at the kitchen table with these guys making this game, playing this game, while fearing that the Germans can come barging into your house anytime soon. Yeah. It does give something to it, and what interests me most, I think, from a game design perspective, is that I feel this strong desire for simulation, and we know where that's going to end up, right? That's going to end up with Jotland and 1,200 blue spaces and little chits that move around.
Yeah.
That's where this ends up.
Yeah.
But these starts are so promising.
Yeah. The super detailed sabotage game. But they didn't have time for that.
No.
Luckily. And also we would have still been playing. But I think we should take a break now that we have showcased this artifact of Danish history.
And to anyone at home, if you want to give this a spin, go to Board Game Geek, Sabotage 1943, download the files. There is an English transcription, actually a rewriting of the rules. So it should be pretty easy to pick it up and play it, even with some of the details that are not so clear in the Danish rules. I've tried to make them a little more clear in the English rules. So it's all available for you.
And in addition to that, I would say support your local resistance. Support your local library. Also important, because that's actually who brought us this game.
Yes, and make sure that they don't throw out stuff just because it's old.
Yeah.